Say that again. Oh, yeah, no. I thought you were saying my wife was here. Yeah.
She's the boss. Yeah.
All right, guys. We, I think first we need to express our gratitude to our fans for showing up and creating a really special environment. To have the largest opening day crowd in the history of the school, I think, is pretty remarkable. And to think about what we kind of set out in the very beginning to create here, for them to do their part. We talk about it being a team effort. They were a significant factor in the game and created issues for the opponent. So we're hopeful that we can continue that positive energy and that momentum and the impact that they can have on the game. I think we've got just a handful of tickets left for Kentucky. So, when we evaluate the game Saturday, we're very fortunate to win the game. We're very pleased with the intangibles of the team. We showed some mental toughness. I thought we showed some togetherness. We stuck together throughout the adversity of the game. We continued to respond in critical moments and really every phase of the game, both sides of the ball. When you look at the numbers and the statistics relative to the game came down to red zone effectiveness. We scored 4 touchdowns on offense, and I think they scored 2 touchdowns or 2 field goals and 4 opportunities, right? So 2 turnovers, 2 forced field goals, ultimately could be the difference in the game. So the film is sloppy, okay, just so we're all on the same page. I know we're ready to put the crown on the Gators, but Gators got a lot of work to do to play at our expectation and our standard. I think the big challenge with the staff and the players yesterday was just to control the things that we can control. And we went through those things, right? Communication, alignment, eye discipline, using the fundamentals and techniques that we've been coached. And then, just the simple execution of your assignment and the in-game decision-making as the play's taking place. So the great thing is the effort was there, the physicality was there, the toughness was there, the passion. I thought the chemistry and morale of the team was good. I thought we saw some leadership emerge. But overall, lots of areas on our team where we need to improve, right? So I think we got a little bit of the best of both worlds here. We got some momentum. But we also, I think, have a team that is very self-aware. I think we've got a smart group. I think they understand good football. They watch the tape. They know that they can do better. So our level of detail in how we prepare and how we play needs to improve. And I really believe we will see some improvement week 1 to week 2. I'm hopeful that we'll see that. So as our team, and not just players, but the entire organization gets comfortable with Sunday to Saturday and how we do that, I think we'll see the team improve. So a lot of good, a lot of bad, some ugly. We got work to do here, but it's good to be 1-0. We're excited about getting back and starting SEC play here. What questions we got?
All right, we're going to open with Edgar. Yeah, you kind of addressed it a little bit, Billy, but just how do you avoid the pitfalls of all the emotion surrounding that? I was looking at your 2020 Louisiana team, for example, that big win at Iowa State to open that season, and you guys stayed the course. How do you keep the team grounded?
Well, one of the things I talked to the team about Friday, you got to operate in truth, right? Operate in truth, tell the truth. I think sometimes we hear the things we want to hear and we don't hear some of the things we need to hear. So just remaining objective, evaluate it for exactly what it is. I think sometimes we get consumed with the results. Reality is we need to always evaluate win or loss, independent of the result. What does the film look like, and what can we do better? So I think that's one of the things that we have refined over the last couple of years is like, how do we evaluate a game? How do we quality control a game independent of the outcome? What do we do well? And I think our staff knows what winning football looks like. We played winning football in a lot of areas on our team, but there's some glaring areas where we need to get better. So, it is what it is. You find a way to win, right? And ultimately, that's what I'm proud of is the kids. This group's got some fight to them, and I think we're making progress when it comes to the human element. I think we're getting somewhere there.
Yeah, the emotional component is all I was kind of driving at, too. You got young guys who, that was an exhilarating experience.
Yeah, no, I'm hopeful we have a lot of those, right? But, I think you're right. I think that's a big question is like, how is this group of players and this staff going to handle everybody patting them on the back for the next week? And I think that it's one of the things about the University of Florida. You're in a state with 21 million people. You got a huge alumni network. You got unbelievable passion, right? So when it's good, and when it's bad, right? So learning how to navigate that, ignore some of the subjective opinions and really call it what it is, call a spade a spade. So I think the sense I got from our team is that they know they can do much better.
There was a stark defense and run defense, a stark difference, in run defense, first half to second half. How did you evaluate that when you looked at the film?
Well, I think I've had a lot of people ask me that question. I think it comes down to precision in our play. That's a physical team. I've got respect for their line of scrimmage play, their edge play. The backs are big. I think that we need to align correctly. We need to communicate at a high level, align correctly, get our eyes on the right things, and then we need to use the fundamentals and techniques that we're coached to use. And play team defense, right? I think sometimes just one player being misaligned causes, the combinations to be a little bit more, you're stressing a part of the defense, right? We got to play team defense. First level, second level, third level, got to work together and play team defense, right? One player is out of their gap. When you're playing a good team, you can get exposed, and I think we saw a little bit of that.
On a similar note, Jervon pretty routinely kind of lined up a yard or so off. Is there anything specific about that you can divulge, or that?
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to get that technical in a press conference here, but maybe you can figure that out. You can tell me that later. Yeah. All right.
Billy, Osiris brings a real element of toughness here, and this has been an offensive line that's been considered a finesse offensive line for years. Would you talk about the toughness he brings and the toughness you saw from your offensive line?
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the areas where we played the way we want to play. I thought that group showed, that's kind of who we want to be. That's the brand of football that we played in the past. We invest in that area. We have 2 offensive line coaches. We put a premium on line of scrimmage play. That's a developmental position. But certainly Osiris, he rose to the occasion. I think we've always felt that Osiris was one of the better players out there, and he showed it. He was one of our players of the game. And I think that his comfort with the system, right, his comfort with the routine, I think that rubs off on that group a little bit. But Coach Stapleton and Coach Sell are really good at what they do in that group. I think there's a lot of room for improvement there. But we're getting closer to the identity that we want that group to have.
Billy, you said a minute ago there's a lot of good and a lot of bad and some ugly. I'm curious, when you went back and watched it, what was the biggest kind of good thing you saw, and then one really glaring bad or ugly?
Yeah, that's a long conversation there. We spent the entire day doing that yesterday. I would say half the day. I just want to see more precision, more detail in how we play, across the board. I think the good thing that I observed was the chemistry and the morale of the team, the togetherness of the team, right? I mean, we stuck together, ups, downs, we responded. I think that's probably the compliment I would give the team. They played hard in the game, right? Like anybody that watched that film or watched that game on TV would say, hey, the Gators played hard, man. They competed. That's what I'm proud of. You know, the football, we got work to do, you know. So without getting too specific there, that's what I would say.
So many facets in building a program. Winning is minor, but yet major, right? What does it win like that, and maybe even a game like this? What can that do to maybe jumpstart, fast track the big picture of what you're trying to do?
Well, I mean, I think it helps, when you're new and you're doing things a different way and you're trying to establish trust and you're trying to connect with people, I think that it's important that they see progress, right? They taste a little bit. And I think this was our first opportunity to take some of these things that we've been doing. We've been working for 8 months, right? And then you got to go play a game. There's no preseason games. There's no you don't get to go scrimmage another team. So the player experiences, oh man, some of these things that we've learned are working. This may have a chance here. They may, there's always a little bit of doubt until they see, okay, hey, maybe we got a chance here. So, I mean, I think early on in your tenure, you're always looking for these type of opportunities. And it ain't over, just so we all understand that, right? So, I mean, we found a way to win that game, but, I think each week is going to present a new set of challenges, and each week will be much the same.
What's the evaluation of Anthony after seeing the film?
I thought the decision-making in the game was pretty good. I thought made one bad decision in the game, and that was the 3rd and 10 where he forced the ball into coverage. He should have thrown an interception, truth be known. Outside of that, I thought for the most part the management of the game, the decision-making in the game was pretty good. Few things maybe we would do a little bit different. A little jittery early on, made a few mistakes. But ultimately, he operated well, and, he's his own worst critic now, okay? I mean, he's going to watch that film 3 times and tell you everything that, he could have done better. But he rose to the occasion is what I would say. That's what I saw. I saw a guy who has prepared behind the scenes, is a product of his work, and it showed up. All this work he's been doing when there's nobody watching, some of that showed up. And then you got the physical ability to go along with that, right? I mean, you see that, but there's a lot of good quarterback plays on the film, but there's also a lot of things that he knows he got away with that he needs to clean up. So players around the quarterback have got to play well for the quarterback to play well, right? I mean, I know that sounds cliche, but sometimes the quarterback looks bad, but players around him aren't doing what they're supposed to do. So it's a catch-22 there. Anthony's going to get better. That's what I would tell you.
Time for just a few more. We'll go to Nick and then Graham.
Coach, what's your, it's probably a bunch of firsts, your first game, now your first SEC game. What's just your initial opinion and scout in Kentucky?
I think Kentucky, I've got a lot of respect for Coach Stoops and what he's been able to do there, just the consistency, their improvement as a program. The win 10 games last year, his teams, I've always had a lot of respect for his teams because I think they're sound. I think they know who they are on offense, defense, and special teams. I see a good set of fundamentals in all 3 phases, and they do a good job of evaluating players, and they've got some height, length, and speed. They have some unique players that maybe weren't highly regarded, but are just as good as anybody in the country. So this is a good developmental program that I have nothing but respect for. So you got to beat Kentucky. You know, they're going to make you beat them. So I think they're a well-coached team, and I got a lot of respect for the intangibles, the effort, the fundamentals, all the things that coaches respect. They do those things.
You talked a lot about the importance of game changers. We saw one lead the game in Marco Ortiz. Do you have an update on how he's doing?
Yeah, we'll give you an update on Wednesday evening relative to the depth chart.
Billy, from a recruiting standpoint, you guys had obviously built a lot with this cycle, and you guys hadn't even coached a game yet. To put a product on the field and have a recruiting weekend like that, just what type of impact do you think it's going to have?
Well, if we can keep doing it, it'll be better, you know, I think. But there's no question that the experience of the Swamp, right, the experience of the fans, the passion, the tradition, you know, that's a unique game day venue, right? And I think for a kid that comes here, maybe he grew up coming here, but maybe that's the first time. And he's sitting in there and he lives that. That's hard to ignore, you know. And I think when you pair that with a top 5 education and university, right, you pair that with Gainesville, Florida, right, a classic college town, 2 hours from Orlando and Tampa. You pair that with this alumni network that Gator made, you got a pretty special product that you're selling, right? I mean, all the things that we've done to improve with the facility, the housing, the infrastructure, you know, that's kind of the exclamation point is, hey, and you get to play in here, okay, in front of this, right? So there's no question that it helps, and we need to do it more. I'm hopeful we can do it again this week.
We'll close with Al Taylor.
Aside from fifth grade, just seeing Des on the field for that volume of snaps, I haven't counted them up yet. Were you happy with the amount that he was able to go, his stamina and all the things that go into that position?
Des is a work in progress. You know, I think he's addressing some of his habits. I think he's made a different level of commitment in some of those areas. And I think he's starting to see the returns on that, if that makes sense, right? So, but, you know, Des can be a weapon for our team if he continues in the right direction, you know. But very much a work in progress and a guy that we need to step up, right? We need him to have a significant impact because that guy, he's a unique player. And certainly in games like last week, he can be a factor, right? So, but again, it goes back to some of those things, and I'm not singling him out, but okay, hey, alignment, you know, fundamentals, techniques, eye discipline, you know, assignment, in-game decision-making, right? Where are we at there, right? And I think he's a guy that, much like the entire team, there's lots of areas for improvement.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thanks, guys.